Hey there everybody, it's time to bring back a game that I haven't played in a while on the channel, and that's Pine Tar Baseball. I just ordered the Greatest Teams set that they put out not that long ago. It has 16 teams on it from that the gamers voted on as their top teams, and so I'm looking forward to getting that. So I really need to get acquainted or reacquainted with how to play this game. I know how to play it basically, it's just if you don't play a game in a while you kind of lose some of the nuances. So I know Bergland is one of the people that's doing all the work on that, along with James, the creator, creating more card sets to go along with the Greatest Team sets and whatnot. And I had done tribute videos to people like Ron from Retro Sports Network, Big Al from Al Red Sox Fan, ID Jester, and the Earls, Tabletop, and Tenacious. So I thought I would take this time while it's fresh in my mind to give kind of a tribute game to Kurt Bergland for all the work he's done on not only the Greatest Team sets, but the ones they're working on now for Pine Tar Baseball, to try to give that some more options for card sets and whatnot. So thought I would do that today for Kurt. And of course his team is the Milwaukee Brewers, and this is going to be a replay of the final game of the season between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Baltimore Orioles. Was played on October the 3rd, 1982. Both teams were tied for the division lead, so this one decided who went to the playoffs and who went home. It's also Earl Weaver's last game as an Oriole manager until he came back again a couple of years later, but he had somewhat retired at that point before coming back, I believe in '86. So Pine Tar Baseball, hopefully I won't mess this up, Kurt. Hopefully I'll do it justice. The game map that comes with the game, you can use whatever you like, but I kind of like the way it looks, so I'll go ahead and go with that. The dice, of course, just to refresh memories here. You've got 4 dice, a green D6 and 3 D10s, red, white, and blue. You're always going to use the white die, that's the ones. But what determines what the 10s are is this dice. If it's even, then we go with the blue number. If it's odd, we go with the red number, combine it with the white. So if it's odd, we would get a 39, where if it was even, that 3 would exit and we'd have 19. And the way I remember it is even has 4 letters, blue has 4 letters, so even goes with blue. Odd has 3 letters, red has 3 letters, so odd goes with red. It's just my silly way of remembering things. Let's look at the extensive charts you need for this game. It's right here, front and back. And again, the things in blue are optional if you want to add those to your game. The ones in brown are kind of what they call, you really need to use those if you want to play the game correctly. They call them mandatory. Got your pitcher modifier table here that'll come into play on multiples of 5. And then some of your base running and error checks. So, like I said, all those extensive charts, kind of couldn't hold them in one hand. There were so many of them. I do have the rulebook handy with me just in case I forget something or need to look something up real quick. So I'll have that. But more importantly, let's get to the starting lineup for each team. First, the visiting Brew Crew. And on the mound for the Brew Crew, he was an acquisition from the Astros, is Don Sutton. And on the road, he's a C pitcher, so he'll be a C-rated pitcher in this game. Had this game been in Milwaukee, he'd be an A+, but on the road, he's a C. And he does have one special modifier of a strikeout here at 77. So if we get a 77 on the batter card, no matter what the result is, it's going to switch to a strikeout. All right, let's look at the starting lineup for the Brew Crew. Leading off and playing third base is Paul Molitor. Batting second at shortstop is Robin Yount. Hitting third at first base, Cecil Cooper. And these are the as-played lineups. Batting cleanup and catching is Ted Simmons. Hitting fifth in left field is Ben Ogilvy. Batting sixth in center field is Stormin Gorman Thomas. Batting seventh is the DH, Roy Thurston Howell III. Batting eighth in right field is Charlie Moore. And second base, instead of Gantner, it's going to be Ed Romero in the lineup. Gantner is on the bench. I assume he's available. I've got him on my bench players, so I'm making him available, whether he was or not. Just seems to make sense. All right, so for the Orioles, it'll be the veteran Jim Palmer on the mound, and he is an A pitcher at home, so only be on the road, but an A at home. So if this game's in Milwaukee, could be a completely different complexion to the game because you'd have different rated pitchers. But here he's an A-graded pitcher, and he has no changes, so whatever's on the batter cards is what we end up with. Let's go to the starting lineups. It'll be Al Bumry in center. Glenn Gulliver is at third. Hitting third and playing as the DH is Ken Singleton. Batting cleanup at first base is Eddie Murray. Hitting fifth and playing left field is John Tonight Let It Be Lowenstein. Jim Washer and Dwyer is the right fielder. He'll hit sixth. Cal Ripken's dropped to seventh because remember, this is his rookie year. First full rookie year. He actually came up a little bit in 81, but he was flip-flop between short and third, and of course he wasn't the Cal Ripken that came to be later on, so he was primarily batting towards the bottom of the order. Rick Dempsey is the catcher. He hits eighth, and Rich Dower is the second baseman batting ninth. So let's get this game going, and we'll go ahead and put the batter and pitcher cards out there for each team as they're coming up. So it's Molitor against Palmer. And actually what I may do, now that I think about it, I'm looking for everything I need. Oh, here we go. Okay. Because these D10s tend to roll around a little bit on me, I think I'm going to use the dice tray to try to capture and keep them from rolling all over the place. So I won't need this stupid backstop thing I usually use in other games. So we'll go with this and see what happens. So Paul Molitor against Jim Palmer. And remember, if it's a multiple of 5, we're going to use the modifier on Palmer. So here we go. Molitor steps in the box, and he's going to be versus right-hander. So for both pitchers are right-handers, so all the results are going to come off the right-hand side unless the lefty reliever comes in. Here's the first pitch. It's even, which means we go to the blue. So that's a 16. So a 16 on Molitor. 16 on Molitor is a base hit, so it's a single. Now this is one where I know Tabletop Earl has experimented with making the multipliers of 4 rather than 5, and if that had been the case, that 16 is a multiplier of 4, we would have taken that single, compared it with the A on Palmer, and a single with an A would have turned into a walk, so he still would have reached base, but I know Tabletop Earl at one point had experimented with using the multiples of 4 versus the multiples of 5, but if I'm going to show the game, especially people that haven't seen it before or very little, I'm going to try to go pretty much as much out of the box as possible without doing a whole lot of mods. All right, so Molitor is aboard. Let's see, can he try to steal? Let's take a look here. He's got 81. Now there is a stolen base opportunity table right here, and it's, let's see here, it says stolen base costs 1 point for the first 9 innings. So I believe you get so many points to be able to do that. Let's see here. Trying to remember how they did the steals. I know I know how to do the steals. I'm just trying to remember how many times you get to do it. But first batter of the game, we're going to go ahead and steal. All right, I'll have to look in the rule book and see how many points or how many cost you points. I want to see how many points you get for the whole game. But right now, we're going to try to steal because it makes sense. So Molitor's an 81. And Dempsey's a 0 arm, so nothing's going to change on that. So basically, the way I'm reading it, if it's 81 or less, he will have a successful stolen base. And it is a 26, so it's a successful steal for Molitor. I hope I did that correctly. Don't do a whole lot of stealing in this game very often when I do play it, but that one just seemed to make sense. So here's Robin Yount now against Palmer. That's odd, so it's a 52. Odd 52 is a ground ball to second, and with that runner already on second, that ground ball to second is going to send him to third base. So avoid a potential double play by doing that steal, and it gets him into third base with 1 out for Cecil Cooper. And the Orioles will play the infield back early on. They figure there might be some runs scored in this game, so they will go ahead and try to get the out if they can. 3 is odds of 47. Cooper of 47 is a ground ball to first. Now let's look at the table. Ground ball table with, let's see, ground out table. No run on first. All right, the white die is a 7, and it went to 47. It went to first base. First base and a 0 through 9. It's a put out. Runner on third advances. So the runner on third does advance. So it will be an RBI ground out for Cecil Cooper. As Murray makes the play, run scores. The Brewers just manufactured a run. They lead it 1-0. Now the bases are clear for Ted Simmons. And hopefully you can see all these things correctly, on the camera there. I guess I should have checked that before I started to make sure. Let me go back and look and make sure you can in fact see everything, which I think you can. All right, here's Simmons. Odd, that's an 84. 84 on Simmons is a fly to center, handled by Bumry, and the inning's over. But the Brew Crew, if I can see if I can scoop the score sheet up here a little bit, maybe that will help too. I guess I should have had all this stuff figured out before I started, huh? All right, so anyway, the Brew Crew lead at 1-0. And now Don Sutton back out. He is a C-grade pitcher, so if we get a multiple of 5, we will be looking at the C-grade pitcher. Al Bumry steps in to lead off. And we get an even, so that's a 70. Even is a 70. Whoops, that was a 0 there. Even is a 70 because it's blue. So 70 on the blue. Remember, 77 would have been a strikeout, but that's a 70. 70 is a fly to right, so Bumry hits one out there to Charlie Moore. He takes care of it, no issues. And we go to Glenn Gulliver, who got the start at third base. Orioles really had trouble at third base when Rifkin moved to short. They really didn't have a third baseman, so they were kind of flip-flopping guys all over the place. But here's Gulliver. Odd. The green die is odd, so we're going with the red. So that's a 48. 48's a ground ball to first. Cooper to the bag himself. And it's 2 down, and that'll bring up Ken Singleton, the DH, right at the end of his career, or nearing the end of his career. Odd and a 30. Now that is a multiple of 5, so there will be a modifier on this. But odd and a 30. 30 is a walk. He is a C-grade pitcher. So let's look at the C-grade pitcher, if that changes a walk at all or keeps it the same. That walk will now turn into a single. You see the walk here, move up to find the C, cross-reference, that is now a single. So Ken Singleton, instead of walking, will get a base hit. So it doesn't affect the base running per se, but does give Singleton a base hit. He's definitely not a threat to steal, so he won't be going anywhere. And here's Eddie Murray. All right, even, and that's a big number. That's even because it goes to blue instead of the red. The red would have been a 74. Blue's a 14. 14's a base hit. So let's check runner advancement. Singleton is a slow runner though. So I think on a slow runner, you only get 1 base regardless of the die number. So just a 1 base advancement, and that's going to be first and second with 2 outs. And I don't, unless I missed it, I don't remember anything on the base running that I can see. And maybe I'm missing it. Maybe Kurt, if he's watching, can tell me in the comments. But I don't see anything about 2 out. You get an extra boost for there being 2 outs. I do see that on the error chart. It does have on the error chart with 2 outs, you run and advances 2 bases. But down here, I don't see anything that accommodates that. So I'm just going to play it straight the way it is. But I don't know if maybe it's something I'm missing. I don't really know. But anyway, like I said, it's been a while since I played this game, so I'm sure there's things I'm probably missing. Here's John Lowenstein. Even, that's a blue, which is 48. So Lowenstein, a 48, is going to be a strikeout, and that's going to end the inning. So Sutton gets him. And 1 inning is in the books here at Memorial Stadium. And at the end of 1, it is 1-0 Brew Crew. That will bring up Palmer. Facing Ogilvy. Ben Ogilvy, left fielder. Oops. 6 is even. That's an 89. Ogilvy an 89 is a fly to center. Handled by Bumry. There's 1 away. That'll bring up Gorman Thomas. Stormin Gorman. Even again. 14. Even in a 14 for Thomas is going to be a base hit. So had that been odd, it would have been an out. But it being an even, it's a single for Gorman Thomas. He's not really much of a steal threat as that 29 indicates. So he's not going anywhere. Here's Roy Howell, the DH. Odd, and that's an 06. So they're getting the good rolls on that green die. 06 to 36. 36 would have been a strikeout. 06 is a base hit. So base hit, and Thomas is an average runner. So on an average runner, what we do is we go to whether the roll was odd or even. And in this case, it's an even roll, 06. So M on the even roll gets gets to the extra base. So since it's even, that means he will go to third. So Gorman Thomas will go to third on the single by Howell. Runners are at the corners with one away for Charlie Moore. And the Orioles looking to turn two. They don't want to bring the infield in yet. They want to try to turn two on Charlie Moore if possible. All right, we get an odd, which is an 83. 83. 83 odd is a fly to center. Now it's possible sacrifice fly. So if we go over here to the sacrifice fly table, the score to get from third base on a fly ball to center field, you need a 70 or less. 70 or less. So that fly ball went to center field. So if it's a 70 or less, then it's a sacrifice fly. If it's higher than 70, then he will have to hold. If it comes up to be 77, 88, or 99, the batter is out, or the runner is out. We get a 16, so he scores. Sacrifice fly is good from Charlie Moore. And that will send home Gorman Thomas, and the Brew Crew lead it 2-0. So 2-0. That makes it two down with a runner at first for Ed Romero, number 9 hitter. Eddie Romero. We get odd 62. Odd 62 for Romero. Ground ball to third. Gulliver's got it. Innings over. But the Brew Crew add another run to their total and lead it 2-0 as we go to the bottom of the second. Earl Weaver, a little nervous, maybe smoking another Chesterfield, hoping his team can get some runs. That'll bring up Jim Dwyer to lead off for the Orioles, right fielder. Even, that's a 37, so 37 for Dwyer, and that's a walk, so a leadoff walk to Dwyer. He's aboard, and he is actually he's an 89 there for a steal chance. Let's check the catcher, Simmons, and I wrote it down already. Simmons' arm is a 0 effect, so 1 to 89, they're going to try it, might as well. And that's an 11, so he makes it. Stolen base for Dwyer. So he's in scoring position with nobody out. Now each team has had one steal. Here's Ripken, odd 88. Now 88, odd 88. Now I know those doubles come up a lot to be certain things. And an 88 is a negative defensive table. That's an optional rule. 88 is a negative defensive table. So if the fielder is positive or neutral, it's no change. If he's a negative fielder, an out would turn into a hit because 88s are pretty much always outs. So let's see. 88 for Ripken is a fly to left. So let's check the left fielder, Ogilvy. Ogilvy is a positive fielder, so no change there. He will make the catch. But the 88 was a negative fielding opportunity. But in that case, Mr. Ogilvy was up to the task, and there's one away. And with the fly ball going to left field, you're not going to get to third very, very well. So here we go. In fact, there's on a fly-out table, there's not even a provision at second base to go to third base on a fly to left, only the center and right. So it's not even an attempt. Here's Dempsey. Even, that's a 2 there if you can't see it, even. Even is a 99. 99. Oops, 99. That's a balk or wild pitch chance. So a 21 or a wild pitch chance 87. So this has to be an 87 for there to be a wild pitch, or is it has to be less than 87? Maybe it has to be less than 87. This is one I'm thinking it makes sense that it has to be less than 87. But again, this is something I haven't played in a while, so this is something I definitely have to look up. I'm sure once you play it a couple times, it's probably second nature, but let's see here. Does it give anything on here? I know it's on here. I don't want to hold up the video. I'm just going to have to play it that if it's 1 to 87, it's a wild pitch. That's the only thing I know. It doesn't make sense that well, maybe it does. I don't know. You know what? Not sure how I want to play this because I'm not 100% sure how it goes. It's an '08, so it's less than 87, but it's not 87 exactly. But to get 87 exactly would be almost impossible to get a wild pitch. So I'm going to play it as a wild pitch. It probably was played in it wrong, but that's just what I'm going to do with it without knowing for sure, because I don't want to sit here and, have people stare at nothing while I'm trying to figure out whether it's a wild pitch or not. I know it's in the rule book here, and I just can't find it, which is, my bad. Probably should have done a little more research or more practice before I came out here to start doing things. Let's give it one extra look and see. Trying to find the wild pitch, and I just don't see it. I'm sure it's there. I know it's there. I just can't see it for some reason. And when I'm trying to do something on the fly like this, I'm sure I'm just totally just wiping around it. So I'm just gonna stick with it and say it's a wild pitch. I mean, it might be wrong, but it says 87 here, so I'm tending to believe that it's a 1 to 87 to get a wild pitch, not just the number 87 itself, because that would come up so infrequently you'd never get a wild pitch in that case. So I'm looking at other pitchers' wild pitch ratings, and they all seem to have one number on them. So I don't know. All right, we'll just play it. Here's Dempsey. Oops, that was an odd 81. Odd 81 for Dempsey. 81's a fly to center now. Is that going to be a sac fly? Well, to get from second base to home, on third base to home on a fly to center is a 70. So we're going to see if Dwyer can make it. 70 or less, and he does. And he does, so it's a sacrifice fly. And of course, I just gave them a run if that was really not a wild pitch. So apologize for that, Mr. Kurt. I'm sure I did that incorrectly. Probably should have just let it go, but... And I'm sure veteran people that play this game know I just played that incorrectly, but what are you going to do? Odd is a 42 for Dower, and 42 is a ground ball to second. Romero's got it. Innings over. So the Orioles may have gotten a tainted run there in the bottom of the second, but we shall see. It's nothing earth-shattering. Nobody's going to lose money on it or anything like that. It's all for fun, so I'm not going to stress over it too much. At the end of 2, it's 2-1 Brew Crew, and Paul Molitor back out to start things off here in the top of the third. We get even, which is 10. Now that is a multiplier 5, so that means Palmer will get to adjust something with his A grade. 10 is a single. Single in an A turns into a walk, so it won't be a single, it will be a walk. Whereas the leadoff batter, it really doesn't matter, but had there been guys on base, a single could have given them extra bases. A walk, they only advance one base. That's where the difference comes in on there. And that'll bring up Robin Yount. I won't steal this time, so we'll just have Yount go. Odd is 89. 89 for Yount is a fly to left. That's out number 1. So Yount is retired. And that's going to bring up Cecil Cooper. Cooper even 72. 72 is a fly to right. And that's out number 2. So 2 down. Palmer's trying to get around that leadoff walk, and that brings up Ted Simmons. No relation to Richard or Gene that I know of. 1, and that's an 0-1. That's 1 is odd. 0-1, that's a home run. That's a home run for Ted Simmons. There's no adjustment because it's not a multiple of 5. So that is a home run. An A pitcher would turn a home run to a single if, say, it was an 0-5 home run, then that A pitcher would turn to a single. But since it's an 0-1, pitcher can't stop it. So it's a home run for Ted Simmons and the Brew Crew. Getting back for feeling slighted on that wild pitch. Take a 4-1 lead. And now the Orioles bullpen is starting to loosen as Earl Weaver smoking another Chesterfield. Here's Ogilvy. Odd 90. Odd 90 is a fly to center. And that's going to end the inning. But it's a 4-1 ball game as the Brew Crew got the Bamberger out there. Has got his Harvey Wallbangers out there. Harvey Keene, I guess. I don't remember who was the manager. I think they had You know, off the top of my head, I don't remember who the manager was, and I should know it. I thought it was Bamberger, but they were called Harvey's Wallbangers, so I'm thinking it was Harvey Keene. So, forgot off the top of my head, and I'm not going to worry about it. So we keep going. Here's Al Bumry. Even, and that's a 17 for Bumry, and that's a base hit. So Al Bumry leads off with a single. Al Bumry. He's a 66, but down 4-1. I'm not going to steal. Here's Gulliver, even 20. Now that will be a pitcher adjustment factor because we got a multiple of 5. 20 is a walk, and he's a C-grade pitcher, so a walk to a C-grade pitcher turns into a base hit. So there's a difference there. The walk from a C-grade pitcher turns into a single, and with the runner on first, now we have to check runner advancement. Runner advancement's even, and Bumry runs, he's medium, which means he gets 2 bases. So instead of a walk putting runners at first and second, it's a single putting runners on the corners. So runners are on the corners, and had Sutton been playing at home, that A for the walk would have turned to a strikeout. So that's where that big difference comes in. All right, here is Ken Singleton. As back come the O's. 4 is even, and that's a 32. 32 is a walk. So we're going to load the bases right here. Bases loaded and nobody out against Don Sutton. And now Brew Crew bullpen might get stirring here because this is the last game of the season. It's do or die here. Here's Eddie Murray, infield at double play depth. We got an odd, which is a 54. 54 is a ground ball to second. Let's see if it's a double play or not. The infield is back. The white die is a 4. White die is a 4 with a ground ball to second, and that's a fielder's choice. So since the white die was a 4 with the ground ball to second, it's a fielder's choice. So we're going to call it 4-6 as Romero tosses to Yount, covering to get Singleton out. Murray reaches, Gulliver goes to third, and scoring on the play is Bumry. So an RBI ground out from Murray cuts the lead to 4-2. So we're getting a little bit of a slugfest here, which is what I kind of figured. Here's John Lowenstein, runners on the corners and 1 out. Brewers looking to turn 2. It's odd, and that's a 71. 71 is a ground ball to short. Will it be a double play? The white die is a 1. That could be good if you're the Brewers. Ground ball to short and a 1. A 0 through 3 is a double play, so that's exactly what they got. They got the 6-4-3 double play they were looking for. And that's going to end the inning. Orioles pick up 1, but it's a 4-2 ball game. And now Palmer is on a very short leash. And he's facing Gorman Thomas. They need a 0 inning out of Palmer. 20, so that could help Palmer because he's an A pitcher. 20 is a single. Single to an A pitcher turns to a walk, so he still reaches. So it couldn't quite fix that, but Gorman Thomas will draw a leadoff walk, and that will bring up Roy Howell. Howell, odd, 36. 36 struck him out. So that will certainly help Palmer out to strike out. 1 away, and that brings up Charlie Moore, right fielder. Charlie Moore. That's even. That's an 0-1. That's bad news for Palmer. 0-1 on an even. Had it been odd, it'd been a 91. 91 would have been a fly out, but an 0-1 is a triple for Charlie Moore. He just triples. And that's going to give the Brew Crew now a 5-2 lead, and that's going to be all for Palmer. I believe Earl Weaver has seen enough. So he's going to come out of there. And Ed Romero will lead things off, and the Orioles will have to play the infield in to try to choke that run off. Palmer's out. Let's see who's going to come in to replace him. And they're going to go to Tippy Martinez, who is their closer, but they need to get out of this right now, so they can't afford to wait around and not be able to use him at all. So Tippy Martinez looking to get out of this. I have to put a T there because there is a Dennis Martinez as well. So Palmer ends up going 3 1/3. Very shaky. And now He's hoping Tippy Martinez can bail him out. Here's Romero. That's odd. It's an 0-7. So that might not help either. 0-7 for Romero. This time against a lefty. That's going to be a double. So Romero's going to double. That will make it now 6-2 Brew Crew. So 6-2 Brewers. As the dice are not in the Orioles' favor right now. Here's Molitor. Odd, that's an 0-6. It's even more trouble because the even would have been 76, but odd's an 0-6 against the lefty. That's another double for Molitor. So Tippy Martinez getting spanked around. And if I remember correctly, the Brew Crew kind of blew the Orioles out in this game in real life. So maybe just art imitating life here. But Weaver brought out his best, and it's not helping because the dice just aren't cooperating. Here's Yount. Odd, that's an 87. 87 against the lefty is a fly to center. That's out number 2, rather. Now let's see, go from center to third base. You gotta have a 25 or less. So we'll see if we can get a 25 or less. Then greater than that, he has to hold. 74, he just missed the 77, which would have got him thrown out, but 74 just means he holds. So there's 2 down for Cecil Cooper. Cooper even, and that is an 0-7 because they're both zeros there. 0-7 for Cecil Cooper against a left-hander is a double. So yet another double, third double of the inning to go along with a triple. And the Brew Crew are just making this into a laugher. And there's nothing that Earl can do about it because the rolls just aren't going his way. Here's Ted Simmons. Even, that's a 46. 46 is a ground ball to second. Inning's finally over, but 1, 2, 3, 4 runs come in. It's now an 8-2 ball game. And you wonder, it's kind of hard to believe that the Orioles can come back from this, but stranger things have happened, I suppose. That's going to be all for Tippy Martinez. They're going to turn to Sammy Stewart in long relief now. So Sammy Stewart will be the long reliever. Sutton will come on with all this run support, taking on Jim Dwyer. Even, and that is a 12 for Jim Dwyer. 12 is a single. So Jim Dwyer gets the base hit. Base hit for Dwyer. Brings up Cal Ripken. That is even. That's a 52. Well, it would have been the same either way. 52 for Ripken is a ground ball to second. Romero's got it. 2 down. And let's put the score sheet over here where you can see it. Not that you want to see this nasty score sheet with all these runs, but the way it is right now. Here's Dempsey. Odd is 48. 48 is a ground ball to second. So 1, 2, 3 inning for Sutton. So just because the A and C grade pitchers, that the dice had other ideas. So anyway, it's going to bring up Sammy Stewart as the new pitcher for the Orioles. He can give them some length. So Stewart is on. Tippy Martinez goes 2/3. So Stewart is on. He'll be facing Ogilvy to start things off. It'll be Ogilvy, Thomas, and Howell. Even, that's a 42 against a right-hander. Even 42, it's a strikeout. So Ogilvy down on strikes. Brings up Gorman Thomas. That is even 45. That is a multiplier of 5, so we'll do an adjustment on that. 45 is a strikeout. He is a B-grade pitcher at home. Strikeout in a B-grade pitcher stays a strikeout. So no change there. 2 down. But a lesser pitcher, say a D pitcher, would have turned that into a walk. So strikeout there stands for Stewart. And here's Howell. Odd. That's a 38. And a 38 on Howell is another strikeout. So Sammy Stewart strikes out the side here in the 5th to at least give the Orioles some stability. And now we go to Sutton. Sutton stepping up, facing. Now remember as well, I almost forgot this, but We're almost into our third time through the order. Once we get to the third time through the order, Sutton changes his grade from C to a B, so he gets better as he pitches farther. And once Dower hits, it's the second time for him. It'll be the third time for Bumry, and he'll switch to the B grades. So here's Dower. Odd, 29 for Dower. 29's a walk, so a leadoff walk to Dower. And now, since we're flipping the order over for the third time, Sutton will turn to a B grade pitcher instead of a C grade pitcher. That is even, and it's an 0-2, so it may not matter. 0-2, and Bumry's going to hit a double right there. 0-2, he hits a double. Let's check base runner advancement for the double. It's an even number. And let's see here, the runner on first, Dower, is a medium runner, which means he gets the extra base, which means he will score. So it's an RBI double for Bumry. And the Orioles get another run, but they still trail at 8-3 here in the fifth. The slugfest here at Memorial Stadium. Gulliver, odd, 37 for Gulliver, and that is a potential error check. So we go to the ROE/putout table right here. Line out or error check. So what we're going to do with that is roll 3 dice and consult what happens. So the red and white die determines the fielder, and the blue die determines if it's an error or not based on the error rating. So the red and white say 89. 89 says we are checking the center fielder. Center fielder in this case is Gorman Thomas. He's got an error rating of 4. If the blue die is higher than 4, then it's a good play. If it's less than 4, he will make an error. I think that's, or did I get that backwards? Let me double check it. Like I said, I haven't done an error check in a while, obviously. Haven't done a lot of things with these in a while here. Let's see here. Let me make sure I read it right. If the blue die is higher than the EC value, no error occurs. Okay. So you want low numbers here because you want the blue die to be higher than that. So if the blue die is a 5 or more, it's no error. Blue die is a 7, so it's a good play. So that's a good play for Gorman Thomas. But now we have to see if the runner can go from second to third on a fly to center, because it did go to center field. So we will roll and see if it's 25 or less. Oops. It is not. It is a 99, and actually since it's a 99, he's going to be out trying there because the flyout table says lead runners out on rolls of 77, 88, 99. That's a 99. So actually, goes from bad to worse. Bumry is going to be out 8-5. Don't know where he thought he was going, but that's actually a double play for two outs, and now the bases are empty. He really had no business going anywhere because of the score, but decided to do it. Oops, forgot the green die. That would help, wouldn't it? All right, it's even, 98 for Singleton. That's another error check, so we're right back to where we started from, as the song from the 70s once said. Get a 54, and that is the third baseman error check, and that's an 8. So I do think that Molitor's a 6, so 8 is greater than 6, so a good play for Molitor. And the inning's over. So the Orioles only get the 1 run. They do cut the lead to 8-3 as we go to the 6th. Sutton probably at least when they want Sutton to at least go 6 innings and then turn it over to their pen after that, I imagine. Right now, Charlie Moore will lead things off against Stewart in his second inning of work. Stewart struck out the side first chance he had, and again, I forgot to roll the green die. 6 is even. That's an 07. That's bad news for the Orioles again. They're getting a lot of bad news on those green die rolls. 07 is a single for Charlie Moore. They're actually fortunate it's just a single. A lot of cards, that would have been extra bases. Here's Romero. Even, and that's a 0-0. 0-0. And I'm trying to think if that's a home run or if that's a... I get my games confused, I imagine. If that's a... I know it's a modifier, though. So how about that? So 0-0. Romero does not have a home run on 0-0. He's got a double. But he's a B-grade pitcher. Can he stop a double? It turns the double into a single as a B-grade pitcher. So Stewart turns that double into a single. It's an even number, so the runner on first base Moore, who's an average runner, gets the extra base. So we got first and third, nobody out. And Stewart not having much better luck on these dice than did Palmer, or Martinez for that matter. Here's Molitor. Even, that's an 0-1. That's bad news, 0-1. And that is gone. 2-run homer. Actually, 3-run homer for Paul Molitor. He has singled, doubled, and homered. He's a triple away from the cycle. And a 3-run shot. And this has turned into a laugher, as the Brew Crew now leads it by the score of 11-3 on the 3-run homer by Molitor. Brings up Robin Yount. Even 10. That is a modifier because it's a multiple of 5. The 10 on Yount is a double. But again, the B is going to turn into a single. So we'll switch to a single, but it's still a runner with nobody out. And that'll bring up Cecil Cooper. 2 is even. Even is 86. 86 is a fly to center, 1 away. Bumry makes the play, and this is not the way Earl Weaver envisioned he would go out, but it's just what's happening. Odd 89. 89 is another fly to center. 2 down. And that brings up Ben Ogilvy. Odd 34. 34 for Ogilvy is a hit by pitch. So maybe Stewart and the Orioles just getting frustrated and decided to slam him. So he hits him. Let's see if Sutton retaliates in the later innings. Right now, first and second, 2 down for Storm and Gorman. Even 43. 43 is a strikeout to end the inning. But 3 more runs. It is now 11-3 in favor of the Brew Crew. And pretty much they can do what they want with Sutton because he's got such a big lead to work with. That's going to be all for Stewart. He is done, and they will turn to Tim Stoddard out of the pen coming up. So Stoddard will be the new pitcher. Stewart went 2 innings. I'm not even going to total it's just not pretty. All right, here is Eddie Murray. Eddie Murray, the batter. Odd, and that is an 0-3. So for Eddie Murray, 0-3 on Eddie Murray is a home run. That's going to at least give the Orioles something to cheer about, although it's a solo shot. But it cuts the lead to 11-4. And that brings up John Lowenstein. So Sutton really not pitching all that well. He's getting tremendous run support. And that is even, so it's a 91. 91 for Lowenstein's a fly to center. 1 away. Going to bring up Jim Dwyer. Not anything Earl Weaver can do, it's just the mercy of the dice. 2 is even, so that is a 16. And that's a base hit for Jim Dwyer. So Dwyer is aboard. Brings up Cal Ripken. They'll roll left-handed, see if that changes my luck any. Even, it might do it. Even is 0-2, and that's gone. Cal Ripken, a 2-run shot. Wow, just by rolling left-handed, I got a 2-run homer out of that. So now it's 11-6, and Sutton is pretty much going to be in need of relief here. They'll try to get him through the inning if they can. Here's Dempsey. Even 29. 29 for Dempsey is a walk. And that might be, well, they're going to give him one more batter, but once the Bumry comes in the lefty, they'll probably go to lefty out of the bullpen. Speaking of lefties, and Bob McClure is loosening. I'm going to keep going left-handed and see what happens. Even 22. Now 22, being a double, is a modifier. That is a positive defensive roll. So what happens is on a 22, it could be a base hit. It usually is, but if you have a positive defensive factor, it'll take the hit away. So 22 in this case actually is a walk for Dower. So since that's a walk, there's no hit to change, so we just ignore that and just go with the walk. So Dower walks, and that's going to be all for Sutton. his day is done. He really did not pitch well at all. He just got tremendous run support. So 5 1/3 for Sutton, and he's given up 6 runs. So really a horrid outing for Sutton. And so they're going to see if Bob McClure can do any better. He's a C-grade pitcher on the road, same as at home. He'll never make it through the 3rd time in the order, so he won't be an A-grade pitcher. He'll be a C-grade pitcher. And that'll bring up Bumry, lefty on lefty now. 3 is odd, 97. 97's a line out to first. And that's 2 away. Now I got to remember, there's so many games I play, it's kind of hard. Some games have a line out double play possibility. This one might, but I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't think they do. Or if they do, I don't see it anywhere. So we'll just go ahead and just call it a line out and leave it at that. So it's 2 down, and that brings up Glenn Gulliver, another lefty, against McClure. And we get even. That's a 99, and that is a balk or wild pitch chance. And again, got a 99 here on a wild pitch, so I'm assuming that means he's going to toss the wild pitch, because you can always get a 99. So that's why I'm going to play it. I'm probably doing it wrong. You probably have to roll a 99 to get a wild pitch, but that just doesn't seem right either. So just going to call it that. Wrong, right or wrong. 19 on an even. 19 against a lefty is a strikeout. Whereas against a righty, he would have walked. But against the lefty, it's a strikeout. So strikeout to end the inning. But 3 runs come in. It's now 11-6 game, and can anybody pitch is the question. All right, 11-6 is our score. Brew Crew coming back out with Howell. And they will come out with Tim Stoddard, who was a C-grade pitcher. Let's see what he can do against Howell, the lefty. Here to start the 7th. Even, 32. 32 is a strikeout. So strike him out. And actually, Howell, with all this hitting, he's got the hat trick. He's got 3 straight strikeouts to his credit, or lack of credit. And let's go back to left-handed dice rolling. Even, that's a 97. That will be a line out to, oops, almost, I did hit my little box that the camera's on, and almost did a header there, but fortunately caught that. Maybe if anybody's fell asleep during the video because of the blowout, maybe woke him up a little bit. All right, here's Romero. Even, 0-2 for Romero against a right-hander. 0-2 is going to be a double for Ed Romero. So it's a 2-out double. He's 3 for 4. 2 doubles and a single. And speaking of red hot, Paul Molitor, a triple away from the cycle. If he rolls a 3, he can get a triple. That's his only way he's going to get a triple, is by rolling a 3. And we get a even 29, and that's going to be a walk. So he'll at least reach on the walk, puts runners at first and second. So he's reached base all 5 times. His second walk to go with 3 hits. And that brings up Robin Yount. And we get odd, 11. And 11 for Yount is a double. But let's see, it was 11. I don't think 11 falls into any... Yes, it is. 11 falls into the positive defensive check. So 11 is a single. Now we have to figure out where the hit went. And so to do that, it's a hit locator. So we need to find the hit locator table. Hit location. Right here is the hit location. So we're going to roll and see where the hit... Well, I don't need to because it got the number. And 11 says it went to right field. So we're checking the right fielder to see... No, I'm sorry. This tells you where it went. I don't need the other ones. 11 goes to first base. My bad. 11 goes to first base. So that means Eddie Murray. If Murray is a positive fielder, then that means that it's a ground out. So, we'll see. Murray is a neutral fielder, so he cannot stop it. It's going to be a base hit. So it is a base hit after all, and an odd number, which means the runner Romero, who's slow, will only get 1 base, so that will load the bases. So he couldn't stop it. Murray couldn't stop it because he was a neutral fielder versus a negative fielder. And now let's get the camera down here where we can see a little bit better. hopefully. And now Yount with that single loads the bases with 1 out for Cecil Cooper. Cooper, odd 64 for Cooper. Is a ground ball to short. Will it be a double play? It's the shortstop and the white die is a 4. Shortstop, white die is a 4. It's a fielder's choice. Runner on third. And we can't hold because it's a force play. So it's a fielder's choice, 4 to 6. And that's a 4. So it's a fielder's choice that actually goes 6 to 4, short to second. The run will score, but they're unable to turn 2. Romero scores. Molitor goes to third. So now runners at the corners with 2 outs. And it's now 12 to 6 in favor of the Brew Crew here in the top of the 7th. Odd is 35. That's a multiplier of 5. So odd 35 is a strikeout. A C-grade pitcher to a strikeout. It remains a strikeout. So no change there. Innings over, but the run does come in. And the Brew Crews add to their lead. It is now 12 to 6 as we go to the 7th inning stretch. Almost need a stretch because all these runs are making this game play long. Here's Singleton against McClure. 2 is even. 23 against a lefty is a walk. So leadoff walk to Singleton. 1 away, and here's Murray. Odd, that's a 23. 23 is a base hit. And an odd number. Singleton is slow though, so he can't go anywhere. He's going to go 1 base. So it's a single. Putting runners at first and second for John Lowenstein. And I guess the lefty, they're going to pull Lowenstein and send up Renicky. Because Renicky does much better against lefties. So Gary Renicky is on to bat for Lowenstein. He is the right-handed platoon for the Orioles in that position. So Renicky is aboard to hit. Odd 98. 98 is a chance for an error / line out. So let's see. Let's roll all 3 dice and see what happens. Red and white tells us who the fielder is. It is a 26, which means it's the second baseman, Romero. His error rating is a 6, but this is a 4. That means he makes an error. And let's see, on a 26, it's a 1 base error. So a 1 base error is going to load the bases, E4. Bases are loaded. And don't count the Orioles out yet. They got the bases loaded with nobody out. Jim Dwyer is going to come out because he doesn't hit well against lefties. And they're going to bring in Disco Danny Ford. So Disco Dan is going to come in and hit for Dwyer. As Earl Weaver's not going down without a fight. Bases loaded, nobody out. Down 12 to 6. 1 swing of the bat gets them right back in the game. Even 34 against the lefty. But he struck out. So Ford, a big strikeout there for McClure. 1 away, that brings up Cal Ripken. Still not out of the woods yet. Ripken can do something big. Odd 12, and he just might. Odd and a 12 is a base hit. And with it being an even number, let's see if the runner on second, Murray, was slow up to 1 base advancement. So it's a single that will score Singleton, but everybody else just moves up 1 base. So the bases remain loaded. It is now 12 to 7. And McClure may need relief as they have Dwight Bernard in the bullpen. Dempsey, even 21. 21 for Dempsey is a walk, and that's going to force in a run. That will force in a run. It's now 12 to 8. And that's going to do it for McClure. He will leave. And Bernard, remember, they don't have Fingers. Fingers was injured at the end of the year, so they don't have Fingers to go to. But they will go to Dwight Bernard. So Dwight Bernard is on. He is an E pitcher on the road, though. A at home, but E on the road. So that could be problematic. Here's Dower. Base is still loaded. Odd 72. 72 against a righty is a fly out to right. Is it a sacrifice fly? You need a 65 or less to get a sacrifice fly. And he does. So it's a sacrifice fly for Dower. That will bring home the run. Out number 2, but the run scores. Third run of the inning is now 12 to 9 as we go to the, and we're still at 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. So Orioles may not be done yet. Here's Al Bumry. 4 is even, 74. That's going to do it. It's a fly to right to end the inning. But 3 runs come in. Scoreboard keeper is weary out there. It is now 12-9 as we go to the 8th. 12-9. I hope my video lasts long enough. Tim Stoddard back out. We'll be facing Ogilvy, Thomas, and Howell. Odd 31 for Ogilvy is a leadoff walk. So this is not for the faint of heart if you're a fan of pitching in this game, as both teams are slugging it out. It's not typical in this game. It's just the way this game turns out. I'm not trying to let everybody see that every game turns out to be 12-10. That's not the case. Thomas, even, 58. 58 is a ground ball to first. Lead die of 8 is a put out and runners advance. So first base unassisted for Murray, but the runner does advance. So runners at second now for Roy Howell with 1 out. Odd 35, that's a multiple of 5. 35 is a strikeout. C-grade pitcher will not change that. It will stay a strikeout. So there's 2 down for Charlie Moore. So since I started rolling left-handed, the Orioles have come back. 6 is an 87. 87 is a fly to left. That's going to end the inning. So, interesting ball game here, 12-9. We go to the bottom of the 8th in a 12-9 game. Bottom of the 8th. It'll be Gulliver leading things off. Gulliver will lead it off here against Bernard. Odd is 48. 48 against a right-hander is a ground ball to first. 1 away, and it's going to send us to Ken Singleton. Here's the heart of the order. This is where the Orioles need to make hay, right here. Odd 34. It's a walk, so Singleton's aboard on the walk, and that brings up Eddie Murray. Odd 90 though. 90 is a fly to center. 2 down. That is a multiple of 5, but it's over 50, so you have no change there. And here's Renicky. Odd 93. That's going to be a fly to left, so Bernard was able to keep things under control there. And now we go to the 9th, 12-9 game, and we'll get a new pitcher for the Orioles, I do believe. And it will be, and he did pitch in this game in real life, in relief, and that's Dennis Martinez. He's normally a starter, but he can also relieve, as he did in that game. So Dennis Martinez will come on. D. Martinez. And at home, he is a B-grade pitcher, so make sure you don't use him on the road. Here's Romero. Odd 38 for Romero. Struck him out. So Romero out on strikes, 1 away. Now can they retire Milder? He's reached base all 5 times, scoring 4 of them. Even, 42. They finally do it. He struck him out. So they finally get Milder out of there. Trying to keep it a 12-9 game as we go to the bottom of the 9th. And the Brew Crew will have a new pitcher on in the 9th, I do believe. Odd 46 is a ground ball to first. So we go to the bottom of the 9th. It's 12-9 Brew Crew. And I believe Bernard has pitched as many innings as he's going to be able to. So they will go to their bullpen and they will bring in, and he pitched in real life as well in this game in relief. Actually did the previous game. And that is Moose Haas. So Moose Haas is coming on. He's a C-grade pitcher on the road. Moose Haas. Part-time starter, mainly a starter, but when they needed him late, they used him in relief. So Moose Haas will be facing Ford, Ripken, and Dempsey. But probably a pinch hitter for Dempsey. Maybe. We'll see. Here's Disco Dan. Odd is 16, and Dan Ford has got a single. So Disco Dan leads off with a single. That brings up Cal Ripken. Tying runners on deck. And Jamie Easterly, the lefty, is loosening in the Brew Crew bullpen. Even, 59. 59 against a right-hander is a ground ball to short. That is a 9, though, so that means runners are going to advance. So it's a 6-3 ground out with Ford going to second. They avoid the double play. Now, do they want to pinch hit? I think they might. They do have Terry Crowley on the bench, and Joe Nolan could catch if it goes extra innings. So Terry Crowley is going to pinch hit for Dempsey. As again, Earl Weaver trying to pull out all the stops. Everything he can think of. Even 51. 51 is a ground ball to first. Lead die of 1. That's a double play, and there's your ball game. So, I'm sorry, the runner was at second. My bad. I was thinking the guy was at first. Tell it's been a long game. So the runner will go to third now. Disco Ford. He will go to third with 2 outs. Brewers don't care about that run. They lead by 3. And here's Rich Dower, last chance. Richie Dower. And they could pinch hit with Joe Nolan, actually. He's a lefty. They're going to go with Joe Nolan, the lefty. As again, Earl Weaver trying to play all his cards, to use a poker metaphor or whatever metaphor you want. Joe Nolan will come in. They do have Sakata to play second if they had to. Even 0-3, and that's a triple for Joe Nolan. How about that? A pinch hit triple. Dower would have doubled, but a pinch hit triple. Pinch hit triple for Joe Nolan. Cuts the lead to 12-10, and the tying run is at the plate in the form of Al Bumry. So we might get a pitching change right here by the Brewers. They're going to go to Jamie Easterly, the lefty. He, however, is a G-grade pitcher on the road, but they're playing their percentages lefty-righty. So Easterly coming on and trying to close it out. It's a 12-10 game. And this is over an hour now, so I'm not going to have a whole lot of comments afterwards. Just going to have to end this thing. 3 and a 40, and that is a multiplier of 5. A 40 for Bumry against a lefty is a strikeout, but a G-grade pitcher changes that strikeout to a base hit. So that's going to score the run, make it 12-11. And now Gulliver is up. They got nobody left to pinch hit for Gulliver, although they do have Sakata. Sakata could come in as a righty, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to bring in Sakata. So again, Earl Weaver trying to do everything he can. It's a 12-11 ball game. Tying run is on first base. The winning run is at the plate in Sakata. Easterly trying to hang on and avoid that pitcher table. Even 61, I think he's done it. Even 61 is a ground ball to third. Milder picks it up, throws to Cooper. Innings over. Orioles come up a run short. Final score 12-11. Let me just add up, make sure I didn't miscount anything here. 7, 8, 10, 12. 12-11. There's your final, 12-11. It's ugly. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. It's wearing me out because there's so many pitching changes. I try to be fair to both teams. But there you go, Kurt. Hope you enjoyed that Milwaukee Brewers game. Trying to do a tribute to a lot of the content creators out there. And the Brew Crew was in the running there on Pine Tar Baseball. Exciting game. Thought it was going to be a blowout, but the Orioles made it interesting in the end. And there you have it. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it. And as usual, I will see you all down the road.